My name is Paul Palmer. I'm Sales Director for Airandé. Airandé is based over in Australia. We've got our CEO. He's got a video first.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings from Sydney, Australia, where it is now 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday evening. Now, while I'm stuck here, Paul Palmer is our person on the ground in Birmingham today, and he will be happy to catch up with you. Please be gentle with Paul, as he has not long commenced as our UK Sales Director and is currently climbing a very steep learning curve. It is our privilege to join you in Birmingham for this IPC conference, and we certainly acknowledge the very important work that you do in terms of keeping your patients and staff safe from infection, and often under extremely challenging conditions. Who, you might ask, is Airandé? Of course, that's a great question. Airandé is an Australian entity with a 10-year history. The company's accreditation to ISO 13485 underpins our commitment to innovation and to quality manufacture of medical devices in the disinfection domain. We are a virtual manufacturer, and we have contract manufacturing arrangements with disinfectant manufacturers in France and Germany. Some of our disinfectants are registered as MD2A. The balance is registered as biocides. Our hardware is manufactured in France, Germany, and the USA or Singapore. In 2015-2016, we acquired a small disinfection technology business in Belgium. When we commenced operations there, our focus was strongly fixed on research and development. However, we continue to take product to market across a range of health-related segments. As you can see from the slide, Airandé has a number of subsidiary companies. One more is to be added in France in Q4 2026, with others in regions such as Latin America planned for the remainder of the decade. A growing sales footprint sees Airandé's distribution well established in a number of regions. As a company, we are proud to say that we are segment agnostic and to claim that as a strength. However, we also recognise that such a disposition can be a limitation. What does Airandé do? Obviously, we have consumable disinfectants and technologies as important elements in our portfolio, but Airandé is not simply a disinfectant flogger. Airandé is constructing a structural different category, integrated infection risk management with quantifiable financial outcomes at the CFO and risk manager level. This approach combines chemistry and technology with institutional know-how and commitment to a multi-lensed approach to disinfection and infection control. When we say that the World Annual Health Facility is a dirty place, what do we mean by dirty? Not physically dirty in a total sense, that's part of it. Rather, we see a wildly complex whirlpool of interests and competing expectations and accountabilities. Within that context, what are the institutional risks that need consideration, mitigation, and management? Whilst there are many, they might be summarised as follows. The most important, of course, being patient care. Then how you deal with existing and emergent pathogens. The problem of clinical overload and resourcing. particularly through two major issues, absenteeism and burnout. Then there's institutional financial distress, reputational risk, and often siloed thinking. Your institutional risks include these. In this case, patient care, legal and reputational risks, financial risks, and staff anxiety over the issues that were raised. When the government publishes its latest survey on healthcare associated infections, what are some risks that you might be confronted by? They include patient care, staff wellbeing, productivity, reputational risk, financial risk, and environmental risk. And those things are highlighted particularly if members of the third estate, the press, read deeply into the report and find some arrows to shoot at institutions like yours. And here we have the Sun. I'm not sure how reputable or well-read is the Sun, but I noticed from an article published on the 17th of April this year that the highlight problem was Candida auris, as well as a range of fungi. And what risks are there from an institutional point of view? They include patient care, staff wellbeing, productivity, reputational risk, financial risk, environmental risk, and legal risk. And as Professor Hovey is quoted in the article, we are already seeing a quiet rise in dangerous fungi from Candida auris in intensive care units to moulds in the community that no longer respond to standard medicines. Now, of course, if you could have at your fingertips means of being able to deal with Candida auris and some of those other fungi and moulds and mitigate the risks that are described in that article, I'm sure you'd be interested in any approach. So we can find our way through the muddied and wild whirlpool of risks by turning towards managing risks through an integrated infection risk management system. Before doing so, we need to see what are the elements of an integrated infection risk management system. An IIRMS is quite similar in some elements to your current approach. Some in the system are stronger than others. Some from yours are missing from the system. Some elements in institutions are reliant on technology that fails to deliver what it has promised. So let's consider what can be achieved with an integrated infection risk management system. And here we can start to flesh out what might be the scale of quantifiable financial and risk management benefits from a fully implemented system. The first is that there is an opportunity to reduce costs attributable to HCAIs and to grab hold of, through savings, your institution's share of £3 billion that the system currently spends or currently loses to costs that are attributable to HCAIs. It can significantly reduce the costs that are attributable to staff absenteeism due to sickness. NHS Digital in December 2025 marked the overall sickness rate across all NHS trusts as 5.9%. Ambulance services were markedly higher. That on a per employee rate works out at somewhere between £781 and £1,200 per employee annually. If, as an individual trust, you could reduce your absent rate by 1%, you can save for a typical acute trust up to £1 million, according to Advisor Plus, in an article they published in August 2018. Of course, since then, we all know that absentee rates have gone up, particularly through the pandemic and beyond. If you were to reduce your absence rate by 40%, you can do the maths. You can work out your own saving per trust, which is in the millions of pounds. Guest et al. In 2020 estimated that in 2016-2017, 79,700 absentees occurred amongst healthcare professionals. And that, of course, increased enormously, as you know, through the pandemic and beyond. And what has been the consequence of that? Higher rates of anxiety amongst staff and inequitable sharing of workload across those staff who do turn up, and the increase in mental health related sickness as a result of that anxiety and workload overload has increased quite significantly as well, way outstripping the rates of sickness for other illnesses such as influenza. So what we're saying is that there is an opportunity to, through a integrated infection risk management system, to not only have a positive effect on the reduction of HCAIs, but to reduce significantly the number of sick days that are taken by as a result of illness in the system. So a benefit of that is that, as I said a moment ago, that there's a much more equitable distribution of workload amongst staff who can arrive at work during these periods of staff illness and absenteeism. Another benefit is that there is an enhanced reputation amongst staff, patients and community. There is, of course, another benefit, which is the reduced exposure to litigation costs and compensation. And while relatively small in number, the National Audit Office reports that there were 66 successful claims against NH trusts for HCAIs between 2021 and 2025, December 2025. But compensation or damages paid were £4.1 million, claimant legal fees £3.3 million, and NHS legal costs £763,000 in the same period, totaling £8.3 million. Spread across all of the trusts, that might not be all that great. But in isolation, each trust has the opportunity to avoid those sorts of costs and reallocate otherwise spent money spent on claims and legals into other areas of their operation. And of course, that £8.3 million doesn't include the cost of your institution's intangible resources, including time spent and human resources allocated to defending a claim. In summary then, we can see that much can be achieved, and you can have a role as a leader or influencer in taking this IIRMS to your institution. A system that will help you and the institution reduce healthcare acquired infections, reduce staff absenteeism, have a positive influence on staff wellbeing, deliver strong return on investment, ensure enhanced productivity across the institution, see a reduction of financial and reputational risks, a dilution of siloed thinking and tension between departments, a strengthening of your existing protocols, and something that complements your existing disinfection and cleaning regime. And importantly, this elevates the strength of your contribution by being able to lead an extension of institutional interest from one of infection control to one of a multi-lensed approach to risk management that has significant quantifiable benefits. So an integrated infection risk management system can provide the means by which your institution can provide a positive and resounding yes when posed the question, is your institution managing the risks? Now, if you're not too sure about what to do with this, or if you're waiting for a more opportune time, Sartre had something important to say about hesitancy. He said in his book, La Nausée, written in 1938, Sartre made an interesting observation about falling in love. He wrote, "There is a moment right at the beginning when you are standing at the edge of the abyss. If you think about it, you won't jump." Now, whilst we may not fall in love, at least don't leave yourself standing on the edge, wondering. So reach out to Paul and or drop us a line. Well, that's it from me. Thank you all for your interest and attention. I hope that you've enjoyed the conference and that this presentation has added some value.